Well, hello, gentlemen. Welcome back. So, today I want to talk a little bit about women, and in particular, I want to talk about the finances of a woman. You know, how she handles her money as opposed to men. You see, for a man's finances are a very simple thing. Uh, you can think of it as, or rather, most men think about finances in the way that our ancestors used to think about it. There's a planting season, there's a growing season, there's a harvesting season, and then there's a season for saving that harvest. Storing it, or uh, so you can consume it in the winter. You know, when you are sure not to have the ability to grow your finances. And so, what does this all have to do with women? Well, it's everything really, because if you follow the money, right, it will lead you to the same conclusion that most of us here in the MGTOW community uh, have arrived at, and that is, um, the bankers control the government, and the women are just opening themselves up to this fuckery. You see, um, and how do they do it? Well, women apparently are unable to um, store resources for a rainy day. You see, um, to them it's all consume, consume, consume. You see, and there's no saving. There's no financial discipline. A woman is all about living in the moment, and so if you can pinpoint to the one thing that is the most wrong uh, with the civilization that we are part of today, is that the people have no financial discipline, and that is because the the bankers in cahoots with the government um, have given the women incentive to break up the family, and they do that because they knew that a woman's consumption habits would would very much benefit them. You see, women are all about fantasy. They're all about living in the moment. They're all about what's cute at a specific given time. Um, to them, every season is spring. You see, or summer, right? Late summer. Um, and at the same time, for them, it's always a matter of a time for harvesting. It's never a time for them to save. You see, never a time for them to save. Never a time for them to invest. Um, to put something aside for when the future is not as certain. And you know, there are people that are benefiting from this. From this consumption, from this consumerism, right? Uh, Again, like I said in one of my other videos, right? The more you consume, the less free that you are. When you purchase something, you're supposed to, you know, take into account the pros and cons of owning that item. You see, whatever that item may be, um, or that property. If it's a larger item, right? Or a set of items, you have, as a man, you have to take into account, what is it going to cost me in the long term to own this? Is this something I can afford, now, and will I be able to afford it in the future, right? Um, Am I purchasing this to show, right? To show other people uh, that I can purchase this item, right? Or am I purchasing this item uh, because it's something I need, right? And the women, they seem to always purchase things to impress others. They want to keep up with the Jonases, right? Like they say. And there's a price for that. There's a price to satisfy that woman's ego. And if you're a man and you're watching this and it makes you upset because you have a woman's ego, then oh well, you stop watching the video. You know, chances are you don't belong in this part of the manosphere, which is the real manosphere. The manosphere that is comprised of monks and real red pillars. Like I said, my channel is not for everybody. This is a channel that talks about men's interests, and this is one of them. Perhaps the most important one of them. You know, in connection to women, your ability to finance yourself, to maintain yourself, your own life, without government assistance. Let's just say it outright the way it needs to be said. Government is evil. Government is everything that the founders of this country decided to fight against, and many lost their lives in the process. You know, and I'm not naming names, and the reason why I'm not naming names is because number one, I believe that all government is evil, and number two, um, because I've named some people in the past, um, I've been censored, and I've come to learn that um, I can say almost whatever I want as long as I don't name anybody, or at least that's what the powers that be have led me to believe yet so far. And so you have to guard your pocketbook. You have to guard your pocketbook, and the women are spenders. They're spenders by nature. Um, like I said, they don't think twice before consuming. You know, and they'll consume what you produce, and they'll consume what you have saved aside for for a not so pleasant day. And that is the one thing that a married man is always uh, worried about. Will she consume? Will she spend us out of existence? It's what a married man has to contend with, right? Will this woman spend the family heirlooms into oblivion? And you know, it's it's something that they're worried about, something that someone in a committed relationship has to constantly worry about. And I've dated some decent women in the past, and I've dated some women that have left a lot to be desired, because of who they were, and it's been most of those. But one thing they all seem to have in common is their ease of parting their, you know, of parting themselves away from their money. You see, and they'll spend their money and they'll spend yours. But for some reason, a woman is unable to um, to be charitable with her money. It's all about herself and her ego. Uh, you know, women, women, the professional beggars. Women, the professional beggars will start a non-profit organization and beg uh, to supposedly cure the evils of society. Evils that they themselves have, in conjunction with the government, um, brought to light, brought into existence, and brought to light. Um, I believe this. I believe this, and there's plenty of evidence out there to support my belief. It's unfortunate, you know. I wish things were not this way, and many of us do believe that things were not this way. Uh, but that's what we have to deal with. These women that have no clue of what freedom is, and we're living in a society together with these beings that seem to be okay with being submissive, you know, and someone in government decided that, hey, you know, that is exactly what I need. I need a submissive populace so that I can extract resources from them. And so the women are okay with purchasing a car, say on completely on credit. You see, they'll purchase things completely on credit, and they don't think twice about that because they don't think of money as something to behold, something to save, to properly manage. They just think of the current payment, right? And how much can I afford right now? How much can they afford right now, so they can keep on impressing uh, their other equally broke uh, um, comrades, because that's really what they are. Women are groupies. They're comrades. You know, and so democratic socialism is taking root in this society. And it's going to completely um, at least those are the plans. To completely do away with the man that thinks. They're doing everything in their power to get rid of the actual men. The men that produce, the men that are able to care for them, properly care for themselves. Uh, that's exactly what the government wants. And if they're able to produce beings somehow, by genetic modification, or by, whether it be by, social indoctrination, by whatever means necessary, if they're willing to produce that one man uh, in multiple numbers that will just shut up and obey, right? Then they got it made. You see, they'll have it made. They want your weapons, you know. So because the ability to defend yourself is not something that is that's beneficial to any government. You see, uh, they want you docile. Whether they have to put chemicals in the water to accomplish that, or whether they have to inject you with some chemical concoction that they've put together in a lab. You know, they want you to obey. They want you to be a good little sheep. You know, and the women are all for it. As long as they have what they need right now. You know, whatever meager little uh, wealth or wages can come their way, so they can keep on satisfying their their filthy egos. Then their inflated filthy egos. Then that's all they need to be happy. And the illusion that one day they'll be able to tyrannically uh, impose their twisted will upon beings that are not as well off as they are. But the women are giving it all away. They're giving it all away. Everything that was gained since the time of the of the European kingdoms, right? Um, Everything that's been gained, in the name of the freedom of man, the bitches are just throwing it all away. Anyways, MGTOW, I hope things change. You know? And to those assholes that live off of you and I, those assholes that couldn't spend a day in your shoes, fuck them. I mean that. I can only hope that the day will come when these people are brought to justice for the evil that they have perpetrated on humanity. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.